It is a good time to be alive. Alright guys, Casual Movie Guy back here, and today I am talking about the highly anticipated Avengers Age of Ultron. So if you've been living under a rock and you don't know what this movie is, it is the latest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise. It's a direct sequel to the 2012 movie The Avengers, which had the highest grossing opening weekend of all time and was universally loved by everybody. Seriously, it was such an awesome movie. It was the first time we got to see all the superheroes that we loved, like Thor and Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk. All these guys are coming together for the first time, and they just kicked ass, and it was a really good movie. I thought it was a little overrated because some people were saying it was like the best movie ever, and it wasn't, but it was a really good film, and I really enjoyed it. This movie, I think, blew it out of the water. I was a little, on the downside going into this movie, not because of, the movie itself, but because a lot of the critics who I enjoy watching and some of the reviews on the internet, they were saying that it just wasn't as good as the first one, but they were completely wrong in my opinion. I think this movie was amazing. I've already seen it twice, and I plan to see it a third, maybe even a fourth time. It is such a great movie. What Joss Whedon was able to do in this movie is just mind-blowing. It was such a great experience. It is the most fun I've ever had at the movies, ever. And I've seen a lot of movies. This is the most fun I've ever had. It was such a good time. I could not keep myself from smiling and laughing and just getting hyped because of it. It was so awesome. The action. You know how in the first one, there was that huge action scene at the end of the movie in New York, and that was really the most action you got. I mean, sure, there was a little bit here and there with that fight that they had after they captured Loki the first time and stuff like that, but it was little tiny stuff. This movie is just action scene after action scene, and not to the point of it's mindless action. Each scene that had action in it, it meant something. It had something to it. And it wasn't just mindless, stupid, dumb, popcorn-eating, fun action. It was actually really well choreographed, and it was awesome. It just so much was going on, and it was just amazing. The action was filmed perfectly. I could not have asked for more in that front. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was the balancing of characters. One of the huge problems I had with the first one was that it didn't balance its characters enough. It kind of felt like the Iron Man and Captain America show, whereas some of the other characters, they didn't really get enough screen time, and when they were on the screen, they weren't focused on as much as some of the other characters. This movie does a good job of balancing out each character more than any of the other movies did. And it was very surprising that happened, because they had a lot more characters in it this time than previously, and I think that was really, really cool of Joss Whedon, that he was able to give each character the right amount of attention and just make sure that each character had enough time focused on it, and that the audience was able to connect with each character. It was amazing to see that, and I think it was really cool because I wasn't really expecting that. I knew going into the movie, hearing from other people, that Hawkeye, the character, would get more screen time, and he played a more pivotal role in this movie than the last one. But I didn't realize that every single character. I know we've seen a lot of Black Widow, but we've only seen the same thing. Yeah, she can kick ass. That's about it. That's all we've seen from her. This movie, because of the powers of Scarlet Witch, who can kind of do stuff with people's minds and their neurotics or whatever it's called, but you get to see a lot of her past, and that really adds a lot more depth to her character and makes me connect and feel for her character a lot more. Just all the characters, even the additions of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, were awesome. Some people who were doing reviews of this movie when it first came out were saying that they're there and they don't add that much. I completely disagree. I think they added so much to the story. I thought I was going to really hate the Russian accents that they had, but I actually kind of enjoyed them and thought they added something special to the movie. Overall, just every character was really, really good. Even Vision. Vision was awesome. I cannot wait to see what they do with this guy. I am so excited because he was one of the coolest characters I've ever seen in a movie. Paul Bettany has been long overdue for something like this. If you don't know, he is the voice of Jarvis, who was Tony Stark's kind of robotic guy who kind of gave him directions. He ran a lot of his business and stuff like that. You've seen an Iron Man movie. You've heard Jarvis. He's the British guy. The actor Paul Bettany who voices Jarvis, he is now Vision, and oh my god, Vision was so cool in this movie. One scene in particular, if you've seen the movie or when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It just had the audience. Both times when I saw it, the audience was just like, oh my god, that just happened. And you'll know what I'm talking about. But the only character I had a problem with, and it kind of bugs me, is Ultron. A lot of the people who were doing the reviews, and from what I've heard from friends and people who have already seen it before me, they were saying that Ultron made some jokes and that he was a lot more funny and less menacing than what the trailers had led us to believe. And I didn't really believe them at first until I saw the movie, and it is true. Ultron is not the villain we were promised, and I don't mind that he cracked a few jokes here and there, because a good villain, you know, it needs to have a little... He needs to have personality. We saw in Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the only bad parts of that movie was Ronan, who was the bad guy, and he was just very boring. Ultron has that same problem. He's a lot more interesting than Ronan, don't get me wrong. He's much more of an interesting character. But he wasn't the menacing force that I wanted him to be. It would have been fine if he cracked some jokes, but physically, he was this huge robot, but he didn't oppose that much. I think it would have been really, really cool if, like, at one of the end fight scenes, if you would have saw him fighting every single Avenger and he was just, like, taking them out and they just couldn't be a match for him physically. I think that would have been really cool. It would have shown how much of a badass he is, and it just didn't happen. A huge problem with that is that he didn't have enough time to really, truly develop. And I don't blame that on the movie, because, honestly, I wouldn't want the movie to spend an hour on just Ultron and creating him and stuff like that. I can't really fault them for that, but I kind of do. But the first one had something else going for it, because it had Loki, who was already a pre-established villain. This movie kind of had to throw a new villain in right away so that you can get to the cool action, you can get to the character development and all that stuff. I just wish that Ultron was more well written, if you know what I'm saying. There's nothing really more I can say about this movie. I plan to do a full spoiler review so I can tell you guys about some of the really cool spoilers if you've seen it. This one was a non-spoiler review, just kind of my overall opinion on the movie. I know this video ran a little long, but this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I was just so excited to talk about it. I saw it twice so I could get the full in-depth analysis on it, so I can get you guys the best review possible. I strongly recommend you guys go see this. I think I'm going to give this movie an 11 out of 11. I know I may just be giving it a perfect score because I just saw it recently and it's still fresh in my mind, and maybe that's clouding my judgment, but I don't care. I've never had more fun at the movies, and I strongly recommend, even if you're not a superhero or comic book fan, that you go check this movie out. It helps to have seen the previous movies, but honestly, you could see this movie without having seen any of the previous movies and not get completely lost. You may have a few questions here and there, but you should be able to still have a great time with it. One thing, the Hulkbuster versus Hulk scene was freaking fantastic. It was amazing. Holy crap. That was awesome. I know we saw a lot of it in the trailer, but it was fucking awesome. It was great. It was pretty damn amazing. Alright guys, nothing else I'm going to say today. Sorry the video ran so long. If you like what I have to say, you should hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like this video. Check out some of my other ones. I'm the Casual Movie Guy, and I'm out.